Right, so I've just turned up. It's 10 to 8. I'm just going to make my way around to the lock, get the 8 o'clock lock out. It's a massive tide today, so I'm going to be using some big heavy lures and my new geared up lure rod. So let's get round and get into the lock. Right, so I'm just making my way round. I've just radioed through to get the North Bridge up. So I keep forgetting to do that. Skip's in his life jacket. I think he's just about to go and do his Kate Winslet bit round the front. My besties sitting in there. Right, the bridge is just rising, so I'll get myself into the lock. Right, well, I've just made the lock. Looks like it's going to be quite busy in here. A few boats in here, but yes, just before 8, so I'm going to get myself out. As I say, today I'm going to be using this bigger, heavier duty one. I didn't think I was going to be able to use it, but I'm going to try it today because it's going to be a ripping tide, and I've got some sort of 150, 180 leaded lures, so we'll give them a try. Well, what I've done is I've just come over to a wreck. This is a renowned bass wreck, and there's a commercial bass fisherman out here at the minute, so I'm just going to get myself round and have a go. I've sort of crept up to this one here, but I can see what way we're drifting, so I'm just going to move myself around and give it a couple of drifts over here. You can see the commercial guys are on anchor, so I can't really get on the exact drift I want to be on, but I'm just going to creep to the outside. It is showing a few fish, but I say them guys are out here making money, you know, so I don't want to ruin their livelihood. My plan wasn't to come here, but I go right past it. I thought it's worth a drift. I know there is some big bass on it, and having a commercial anchored up on it, you know they're here. I haven't really caught a fish on this rod yet. It's only a very small wreck. I know this one holds some really nice congers. I can feel the difference in the heavier rod and heavier lure. It's not quite as enjoyable as the lighter gear. Loads of bleeping down there. Hopefully that's bass. They're pinned right tight to the bottom, it seems. I just don't want to get too far down there and end up losing my lure. Just come up a couple of turns. Yeah, the drift line I want to be is where they're on anchor. They're not silly. Right, I'm just coming to the end of it now, so I'm going to turn round and try and creep round. I don't want to get too tight to them guys, but I do need to get on that wreck a bit better. I'm going to switch my rod over. It's just a little bit heavy here and I don't need it yet, so let's put this one over here and I'll get my bulldog puppy down. Now I know these boys are fishing live baits, they're fishing mackerel, so I've just switched over to a slightly lesser weighted lure, and that's like a mackerel colour, so I'm going to give that a try. I'll try and creep round there so I don't get in their way. Yeah, I've decided to come away from that wreck. Where they are actually anchored is exactly the drift I want to be on, so I don't want to get too close to them and piss off their day. I just saw them pull up a nice bass then, but you know, it is what it is. They're out here making a living, so I'm going to go and do my original plan and steam about another 7 miles. So I've just come out to this one where I was going to come originally, so I'll see how we're drifting. I'm a couple of 100 foot away from the wreck now. We'll see how we're drifting and see what lure I want to put down there, whether I can get away with using a lighter one. If not, we'll go down with the big boy. This is a lovely wreck, this one. It's not that there's a lot of them about at the minute, but it is a good cod wreck. I don't want to tempt fate, so I think I'll this slightly smaller lure down and see how I'm going. Let's just see where I'm drifting. I think I'm slightly off there. Yeah, so I'm just going to move myself round. Right, that should do. Turn my wheel so it helps me to stay on track. Yeah, the bleeping's starting already, so I like that. And we're in 127 foot of water. We're doing 1.2 knots, so So just nice at the minute, just coming up the outside, but I think I will go onto it. First drift's always just a tester really, you know. Right, we're down. So yeah, I'm getting away with using this lighter lure at the minute. Oh, yeah, I'm just creeping up the outside of it, but I'll continue this drift and then I'll know exactly where I need to be next time. You can get them on the outsides, you know. Lovely sunny day out here. A little bit of swell, but it's expected with this massive tide. Yeah, we're actually drifting textbook, so I think I will run right the way up the centre of this on my next drift. Showing quite a few fish on the outside here, so I'll just persevere here. If I can get away using this lighter rod, I've got some of my other lures. I'll be honest, I thought that the tide was going to be ripping. It's only the start of the tide. I think it will in a bit, but I didn't think I'd get away with using this lighter lures straight away. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, a lot of people, I look on my, yep, I'm in. No, lost that. Yeah, I look on my YouTube studio and I see sort of 20% of people are subscribers and 80% of people watch the video and are not subscribers. So if you could please hit that subscribe button, I'd appreciate that. All right, what I'm going to do, I've got a perfect drift line. I'm going to come around and reposition myself now. Right, so I've just moved myself round about sort of 50 foot. I was just off of it and I'm going to put on this lure. I think it's 85 grams, but it's got like a crazy eel body. So let's get it down. I'm right on the wreck now. So just a better colour. I like this colour for pollock. Yeah, the wreck's coming straight up now. So I'm going to run right the way through this wreck. So hopefully, I did have a take on the outside, but hopefully this will be on the money. Right, I'm on the bottom now. So just give it a couple of turns. Yeah, I'm going to go through it. Lovely. It's lovely when the wind and the tide do exactly what they're supposed to do on the tin. So the last few trips it's just been hard work, you know, wind against tide and not doing what it's supposed to be doing. This looks textbook, this. I'm just going to drop it down so I'm on that bottom. Couple of turns. You need to adjust, obviously the wreck comes up and down. Showing quite a few fish, sort of. There's a few mid-water, whether they're mackerel, but they are showing some on the bottom. As I said, the area I'm sort of working is about an 8-foot column, so I may need to adjust, and I can see that wreck coming up a little bit higher now, so I'll just be aware of that. Well, I'm nearly coming to the end of this and I haven't really seen a great deal of fish, so I'll just move slightly over again. Like I say, it's about working that wreck, working the area till you find them. Right, I'll go back round. Right, so I've just moved slightly over and I've just changed over to a white, slightly lighter one because I'm getting away with that. I think it's a 65 gram. We're in 110 foot of water. Oh, don't know if that was a grab of a fish or the grab of the wreck. I might just give it a couple of turns up. With the lighter lures you get a better action, you know. If I can get away with using lighter ones I will, because it flutters better. Sort of the heavier it is and the stiffer the body, you know. This is more natural. Well, that's the second drift over this, sort of the centre of this wreck. They looked like there was a lot more fish on the outside of it, so I may well just go back over that outside. That's where I had the grab to start with. Alright, so I'm just coming to the end of it now, so I'll retrieve in slowly and go back round. Might just try slightly over again. Okay, so I've just moved back round again, slightly in the about the same sort of drift as I did the second time, but we'll see. Well, don't seem to be getting a lot on this one. Let's bring it in. I'll go around once more. And what I've done is I'm going to drift up this outside of it I'm virtually on that, just going to run up the side of it. That's where I saw quite a few fish as I was coming back over. I saw a load of them then, so we'll just try this. Yeah, it seems to be showing a lot more fish on this outside here. So what I'm doing now is I'm going over the other side of it now, just going to try up that side. And then really I've worked this wreck because don't have to zigzag across this one. This actual wreck lies in line with the tide, so even though it is showing quite a few bleeps, I don't seem to be catching any fish off of it. Right, this wreck doesn't want to seem to play ball today, so I'm going to go one more time, and then really I have worked this whole area. So just coming to the end of it now. Okay, so this is going to be my last drift on it. So I've literally worked the whole of this wreck. Because it lies alongside the tide, you literally can just go up and down it, and it's probably only 200 foot wide by about, I don't know, 800-900 foot long. Come on, a fish. Right, what I'll do, I'll just get my phone and I'll show you how I've worked this wreck. Now, okay, I don't know if you can see where I've been working this wreck. The wreck lies there. I've literally gone all over it, and I can't seem to find any fish, even though they are bleeping. They're not taking, so don't know what's happening there. So I'll move on to another one and just see how we get on there. Let's do a bit of research on the plotter, see where the next one is. We're actually quite blessed out here. There's so many wrecks close to each other. There's another one here I'm just going to come up on and give it a try. This one lays not in the tide, so we may zigzag across this one. So we'll just see how we get on. Okay, so we're just going to creep up on it now. Yeah, it looks like we're just going to go. I'll have to zigzag this wreck, so we'll see. Come on it a bit fast really, but it's a bit deeper, this one, 130 foot. This one's only about 80 foot across, so you're really going across it very quickly if it doesn't lay in line with the tide. Most, quite a lot of them do. They get pushed round, when they've sunk, the tide will push them round and they'll settle. But this one doesn't, so it sort of lays that way. So I've got to zigzag across this one. So I'm across it already, but okay. So I'll come in and start working my way across it. Now, because this wreck is only sort of 60 foot across, normally I get right on top of them. I am coming a little bit away from the wreck to start my drift, so it gives me a little bit more chance, but we'll just have to keep working our way through. I hit something, I don't know what. I think it's definitely not a fish. Yeah, so I caught my own lure, so I felt something quite hard. It's caught itself on the tail, so that lure won't work properly, so I'll go back round. Once I've been over through this wreck, I'm the only one here, so I can literally cut back through on my trails and keep working myself to save me going all the way around the wreck. I can come back across my trails that I've just been over, because I know there's no fish in that area, so I'm not going to scare anything, but it just saves a bit of time. As I said, this wreck is getting narrower and narrower. I think I'm probably down to about sort of 40-50 foot across, so I'll give myself about 100 foot before I start my drift. By the time my lure gets down, I should be on it. Right, so my lure's down and I'm about 40 foot away from the wreck, but as I say, it's only very narrow, this one, so I'll have to be quite quick. Right, we're on the bottom now. Comes up quite prominent, this wreck. and I'm doing about 1.7 knots, so it's we're going across it quite quick, a bit too quick really. The further east I go, the lesser the tide, because obviously I'm on a flood tide now, so it is starting to pick up. I mean, if you were fishing round by the tower now, you'd be doing 3.5 knots, just unfishable in a, you know, this is one of the biggest tides we get. I mean, we get I think we get an 8.2 or 8.1, but this is a 7.8. This is a monster, you know. Right, so I've just got one more area to try the top, and I'll show you how I've worked this wreck and how it's positioned. As you can see, there lies the wreck, and we're just zigzagging across it, see, but it's only, there's my scale there, see, 200 is that scale, and that's, well, Christ, that's not even probably 40 foot across. So by the time you're going, you can see I'm drifting at 1.7, 1.6 knots, so you're moving quite fast. So let's get back round. I'll do this top corner here and then I'll move. Right, this is the last drift on this wreck, and I've covered it again, so we will see. And we'll move on. I'll go and have a look and see what one's near us, and we'll just try another one. Sometimes these fish will just sit at the stern or the bow, you know, or a little pocket somewhere, and you just got to find them. But I don't think I'm going to find them on this one. Right, let's get on to another one. Well, I've just come out to this wreck virtually in the shipping lanes, and there's a commercial guy out here now, so I don't think I'm going to bother. I don't want to I don't want to tread all over their toes. It's not a massive wreck, so I think I'll leave them to it. I'll go to another one. I think it's a bit too cramped really. Yeah, no, I'll leave it. I've just moved. Fortunately there is a wreck not a million miles from here, so we'll try this one. And this wreck is only a very small one, and it runs that way again, so the tide's going that way, so we're only going to zigzag across it. But I think I'm going to use my heavier lure and rod on this one, because obviously it'll get me down there quicker, and the tide is moving about 2 knots, so it will be better. I don't know what I've done here. That's what happens when you connect it. Right, okay, so that's 140 this one, so this will get me down quick, so I better get down there now. Yeah, I could have gone on that wreck, you know, but what's the point? It's just not fair, you know. You've got to play the game out here. Well, a lot of them don't, but I do. Right, we're just coming up onto it now, and that lure is on the bottom virtually. So I haven't stripped this line off this reel properly since it's been wound on. So, right, okay, now we're down, and that wreck's just coming up now. Notice the difference using a 140, sort of doubling your lure size, much harder to work. Oh, I thought that was something then. And we're virtually across the top of it now. So there's some fish just on the back edge here, whether I can nail them or not. Just drop back down a bit. Okay, I'm coming off it, so I know where my drift is. It's pretty textbook, but as I said, the actual wreck itself is probably, I don't know, maybe 100 foot across. Alright, so let's go back round now. I've got my drift, and we're in 136 foot of water here. Alright, let's go back round. So the wreck's just coming up now. My line's out the back here. I would rather it been out the side, but there you go. I just dropped it down a bit too quick, I think. You get a better action when your line's out further, you know. It's too close into the boat here, but it's such a short drift. I'll just persevere with it this time. We're doing about 1.5 knots. So I'm just coming over the back edge of it now, so it's not showing a lot here at the minute, this first 2 drifts, so persevere, Mark. Okay, so I'm gonna wind up. Okay, so what I did this time, I sort of did a sideways drift, so it just slows me down a little bit instead of going sort of bow forward. The line's going nice out the back now, but just doesn't seem to be showing a lot of fish on here. Need that patience and tolerance. So that was showing a few fish on the back edge of that, so I'll continue to work along this wreck and then I'll perhaps concentrate on that area. So let's just get back round here. I did see a few fish on the back edge of this, so we'll just have a try. I'll go back round now. Yeah, I don't seem to be having a lot of joy on this one. That's probably why the commercial guys are over there. All right, let's have another move. Okay, so I've just come out to this big wreck. This one does lay in line with the tide, so this should be quite good. This is quite a big wreck. It's a snaggy one, so I haven't lost any lures up to now, so watch this space. But we'll give this one a go. It's quite a good conger wreck, this one. So I'll get myself, I'm virtually there now. That's about it's about 800 foot long, this one. Quite a nice one, and about 100 foot wide, probably a bit more. And we're in 126 foot of water. Keep meaning to put the slow jigs on, but I'll just sort of stick with these Savage ones at the minute. So yeah, looks like I'm going to just catch the outside of this, maybe. Showing a few fish down there. I've got a puffin lure on, a 140. Let's try that. What I did before I steamed out to this wreck, I put my radar on and checked to see if there was any boats here. Generally, those two wrecks I went to are where the bass boys go, and I know on that very small one I went to first thing, I know those lads have been working that wreck for about 3 weeks and they're getting quite a few bass off of it. Right, I'm coming off of the side of this now. I'll go back round and set my drift line. Yeah, that's the puffin. Quite a nice one. Quite a nice one to lose. Right, let's go back round. Right, so I'm back on my lighter rod. Got like a crazy eel tail on here and a Hastings Angling Centre special made head here. £2.50 instead of 12 quid or whatever they cost. Right, so we're coming up on the wreck now. Let's get over. I said I wouldn't get into the wreck and I have. That's not a fish. That's a wreck. So it's lucky it was just a homemade one. So that sort of cost me 4 quid instead of 14. So hopefully I've got my leader on. If not, I'll have to tie it. Well, I thought I'd see some more boats out here than what there is. My other club, I think they've got 8 boats out today, but I don't know where they're fishing. Most of them go place fishing, but just doesn't seem to be the place about this year. I don't know why. Well, all last year really. Used to get them, you know, £5-6. Right, well, not had any success on here at all. Right, let's have another move. Right, so I've just got on this wreck now, about 200 foot away from it. This one doesn't lay in the tide, but we'll see. I haven't fished this one for, well, quite a few years, I'll be honest. So you never know. We are just virtually coming up onto slack water, so about another 20 minutes I'll be in slack water. I don't think I'm going to drift fantastic on this now. We'll see. It's only 120 foot of water here. We'll do our first drift. It'll give me some idea where we're going, and then I'll adjust. We might just catch the corner of this. I'll turn my wheel, I might catch that. Sometimes these wrecks, you know, I've got literally hundreds in this plotter, and I don't, you sort of go and fish the ones that you know, or the bigger ones, and sort of miss out these little ones that used to produce, you know. They're in there for a reason. But maybe today is not going to be my day. Right, I'm just virtually coming onto it now. I'm going to just hit the corner. Just by moving that engine round has swung me over a bit. So we're still travelling about sort of nearly a knot. So we are still flooding at the minute. Right, it's just starting to show on the sounder now. But I can't see any fish on it. Couple showing mid-water, but couple on the bottom. Alright, nothing on that drift, but at least I've got a line now. I know where I'm going, so I'll get back round on that line. And some water. Some water. Come on. Hey boy. Keep forgetting to give him water. Bad parent. Right, just back on top of this wreck now. It's coming up quite prominent. No, let's go back round. I think I've got to change my jumper, take my jumper off. Alright, well this is the third drift on this now, so I'm having to really work hard today. I don't even know if I'm going to get a fish. Just have to wait and see. Just coming across the top of it now. Sort of goes from 120 foot up to 101. This wreck's called the Authority. It's certainly not giving me that at the minute. Oh no, thought that was one then. Just picking up the wash of that big trawler that's just gone by. That's probably why there's no fish here. What are you two doing? Right, there's one part I haven't gone over, so I'll just try that while I'm here. And then what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to trot my way back towards the marina, hit maybe a wreck on the way back, and I might just flick over that inshore reef and see. But yeah, don't know. One of them today. Yeah, I'm into something. I don't think it's very big. I don't know what. Mackerel probably. But I'll take it at this stage. I ain't had nothing. Oh dear. Well. Is that going to be my thumbnail today? I do hope not. So I've just come onto these little inshore wrecks here to try. So I've just had a mackerel about the same size as my lure. Hope I'm not going to have to use that as a thumbnail. It's looking pretty much like it. There's a boat over there, looks like he's on anchor, perhaps he's trying for rays. It's quite a good ray spot round here. This other wreck is just coming up on it now, so because we're on slack tide, I'm only going to push myself in the centre of it. Let's slow down a bit. It does fly, this boat. I love it. Now, I've just left my engine running because I'm just going to try and push myself in and out of this wreck, but I'll be honest, I think I'm whistling in the wind a bit. Oh, look at that. Now I'm in. Would you believe it? Thank God for that. That doesn't feel like a mackerel. It feels like a little bass, actually. Yeah, it is, a little bass. Nice. Oh well, it's not a blank. Nice little one. Okay, so I'm back on that drift line where I had that small bass. Well, blimey, I honestly thought I was going to blank today. As I said, you know, you can't come out every session and expect to catch fish, but I mean, I must admit, I do normally manage to nail a couple, but it was looking a bit frightening then. I thought I was going to have the mackerel as the thumbnail. But still pretty poor. 40 litres of fuel, one bass. So I'm waiting outside the lock now. There's a bit of a queue here, just waiting for the locks to turn. It wasn't the fish fest I was hoping for, but there you go, it is only fishing. It just goes to show, you know, on a massive great tide like that, I thought it was going to be ripping. I did go east and the tide is obviously less there. I think if I'd have gone round by the tower, I wouldn't have been able to hold my lure down, but yeah, it was all right. It's one of them things you can't catch every time. But thanks very much for watching the video, and I hope you're enjoying Manic Mondays, and please hit that subscribe button. It comes up at the end of this video. You'll see a prompt for another video, and then the Manic logo will come up. That's a subscribe button. Thanks for watching, and see you next Monday.